Hello everyone. Today we are diving into one of the most beautiful poem in English literature, To a Skylark by Percy B.C. Shelley. This poem is a joyful celebration of the skylark's beautiful song, a bird whose music represents pure happiness and freedom. Shelley compares the skylark to many wonderful things in nature and explores how its happiness is different from human feelings, which are often mixed with pain. In this session, I will explain the poem stanza by stanza. So, whether you are a student or just love poetry, stay tuned to explore the magic of Shelley's skylark. Let's begin. Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never wert, that from heaven or near it pourest thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. See the last two lines. Here the poet uses consonants. Repeated P sound is seen here. The poet greets the skylark joyfully, calling it a blithe spirit or cheerful soul. Shelley says the skylark is not an ordinary bird but a spirit from heaven. It sings freely and spontaneously, pouring out its heart in an effortless and natural way. Shelley elevates the skylark from a mere bird to a divine spiritual being. He admires the purity and natural beauty of its song, which is beyond human art. In the first line, the poet uses apostrophe by directly addressing the skylark, which is non human. The poet imagines the skylark as a spirit, not a bird. So, metaphor is used here. The skylark here is implicitly compared to a spirit. Higher still and higher from the earth thou springest, like a cloud of fire, the blue deep thou wingest, and singing still those soar and soaring ever singest. The skylark rises higher and higher into the sky like a fiery cloud. It flies through the blue sky, always singing. Its flight and song happen together, continuously and joyfully. The stanza expresses the boundless energy and spirit of the skylark. Its upward movement suggests spiritual elevation. Like a cloud of fire, here the poet compares the bird's glowing ascent to fire. Here, the repeated letter S is an use of alliteration. In the golden lightning of the sunken sun, over which clouds are brightening, thou dost float and run like an unbodied joy whose race is just begun. The skylark flies through the glowing light of the setting sun. It seems to float and run across the sky like pure bodiless joy that has just started its journey. Here Shelley blends sight and emotion, linking the bird's flight with joy. The image of unbodied joy suggests something divine and intangible. Shelley uses personification by saying clouds are brightening, where the clouds reflect sunlight passively. Joy whose race is just begun. He imagines joy can run. This is another use of personification. Like an unbodied joy is an example of simile. The pale purple even melts around thy flight like a star of heaven in the broad daylight. Thou art unseen, but yet I hear thy shrill delight. As the evening or even turns pale purple, The bird flies through it. Like a daytime star, it cannot be seen, but its joyful song is clearly heard. The contrast between visibility and audibility shows how the bird's presence is more spiritual than physical. The idea of invisible beauty is emphasized here. Like a star of heaven, here the poet compares the skylark to a star of heaven. It is a simile. Keen as are the arrows of that silver sphere, whose intense lamp narrows in the white dawn clear. Until we hardly see, we feel that it is there. The bird's voice is sharp and piercing, like rays from the moon or silver sphere, which fade at dawn. Even when the moonlight disappears, we can still feel its presence, just like the skylark. Shelley emphasizes the spiritual effect of the skylark's voice. The bird's presence is more felt than seen, like subtle moonlight. Keen as are the arrows. Here the poet uses simile. The skylark's song or delight is being compared to arrows that are keen or sharp. Silver sphere is a metaphor for the moon. Arrows is a metaphor for the moon's rays or moonbeams. The moon is compared to an intense lamp whose light narrows. All the earth and air with thy voice is loud, as when night is bare from one lonely cloud. The moon rains out her beams, and heaven is overflowed. The skylark's voice fills the entire sky and earth, just like when the moonlight shines from a single cloud and fills the heavens with brightness. As when night is bare, here the poet uses simile. Shelley compares the skylark's song to the moonlight spreading from one cloud. It shows the vast and magical reach of the bird's song. The poet personifies by saying, "The moon rains out her beams." The moon is said to rain out her beams, as if the moon were a person who could rain or pour down light, like rain. Also, the moon is referred to as her, attributing it with her, that is, feminine gender, a human quality. And heaven is overflowed. The sky or the heaven is so full of this moonlight that it appears to overflow, as if light is spilling everywhere beyond its limits. What thou art we know not, what is most like thee. From rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see, as from thy presence showers a rain of melody. Shelley admits that no one truly knows what the skylark really is. Even the most beautiful sights like rainbow clouds don't produce anything as beautiful as the music that pours from the skylark. Shelley is in awe of the skylark's divine song. He sees it as a symbol of beauty beyond human understanding. A rain of melody is a metaphor for the skylark's free, abundant, and soul touching music. Just like a gentle shower of rain that fills and refreshes the world. Like a poet hidden in the light of thought, singing hymns unbidden till the world is wrought. Here, wrought means worked. Archaic to sympathy with hopes and fears it heeded not. Shelley compares the skylark to a hidden poet who sings spontaneously. His poetry stirs the emotions of the world, making people aware of feelings they had ignored. The Skylark is now compared to a prophet poet, one who awakens human sensitivity. This highlights the power of art and emotion. The Skylark is compared directly to a poet using the word like. It suggests that just as a poet remains unnoticed while his thoughts influence the world, the Skylark sings invisibly but meaningfully. Thought is metaphorically described as light, implying clarity, inspiration, and enlightenment. It suggests that poet's ideas shine and illuminate even if he is not physically seen. The world is personified as having the ability to feel sympathy and heed hopes and fears. This gives a human like emotional response to the non living world, showing the poet's or Skylark's power to evoke deep emotions in humanity. Like a high-born maiden in a palace tower, soothing her love-laden soul in secret hour, with music sweet as love which overflows her bower. The Skylark song is compared to a noble lady in her tower, quietly calming her full heart with sweet music like love that fills her room. Shelley uses this simile to show how the Skylark's music is private and heartfelt. The music is pure, emotional, and intimate. Here, Skylark's song compared to a high-born maiden's music, soothing her love-laden soul. Here, the repeated L sound is alliteration. Like a glowworm golden in a dale of dew, scattering unbeholden its aerial hue among the flowers and grass which screen it from the view. The Skylark song is like a golden glowworm hidden in a dewy valley, spreading its light unseen among flowers and grass. This shows the Skylark song as a hidden treasure, subtle but beautiful. The bird's music lights up the world quietly and beautifully. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves by warm winds deflowered till the scent it gives, makes faint with too much sweet those heavy winged thieves. The Skylark song is like a rose surrounded by green leaves. When warm winds take its flowers, its scent becomes so strong it can overwhelm the bees or the heavy winged thieves. The scent is a symbol of beauty and power, just like the Skylark song. The thieves or bees show how others are drawn to this beauty. The poet says Skylark's song is like a rose's scent. It's a simile. Bees are thieves. It's a personification. Sound of vernal showers on the twinkling grass, rain awakened flowers, all that ever was, joyous and clear and fresh, thy music doth surpass. The Skylark's music is better than the sound of spring rain on grass or flowers waking up. It is more joyful, pure, and fresh than anything in nature. Shelley implicitly compares the Skylark song to the most beautiful natural sounds. It's a metaphor. The Skylark's music is seen as the highest form of joy. Flowers are given the human quality of waking up. It's a personification. All that ever was joyous and clear and fresh, thy music doth surpass. This is an exaggeration to emphasize how divine and uplifting the Skylark song is, surpassing all earthly joys. Teach us, sprite or bird, what sweet thoughts are thine. I have never heard praise of love or wine, that panted forth a flood of rapture so divine. The poet asks the skylark to teach him its secret happy thoughts. He has never heard any song praising love or wine that expresses such deep joy. The poet admires the skylark's pure joy. He wants to learn the secret of the bird's happiness. The poet directly speaks to the skylark, calling it a sprite or a spirit or a bird, showing admiration and awe. So, it's an use of apostrophe. The poet metaphorically compares the bird to a spirit, suggesting it is otherworldly or divine in nature. So, it's a metaphor also. The poet exaggerates by saying, not even the most passionate songs or poems that praise love or wine, things that usually bring deep pleasure, have never expressed a joy as heavenly and intense as the song of the skylark. So, this is hyperbole. Chorus hymeneal or trumpet chant matched with thine would be all but an empty vaunt, a thing wherein we feel there is some hidden want. Even the happiest wedding songs or victory chants cannot compare to the Skylark song. Those human songs feel empty or lacking beside the Skylark's pure joy. Shelley contrasts human celebrations with the Skylark's perfect music. Human songs have a sense of something missing. Chorus hymeneal refers to a wedding song in praise of Hymen, the Greek god of marriage. This is a mythological allusion. Triumphal chant refers to songs sung after victories, evoking the grandeur of classical or Roman processions. Empty font is a metaphor suggesting that even the grandest human songs are hollow or meaningless compared to the pure spontaneous song of the skylark. Matched with thine would be all but an empty font is an inversion. The poet uses this to maintain poetic form. What objects are the fountains of thy happy strain? What fields or waves or mountains? What shapes of sky or plain? What love of thine own kind? What ignorance of pain? The poet wonders what inspires the skylark's joyful song. Is it the land, sea, sky, love, or because it doesn't know pain? The poet tries to understand the cause of the skylark's happiness. The skylark's joy may come from its innocence or ignorance of sorrow. Shapes of sky, here the poet uses alliteration. With thy clear keen joyance, languor cannot be, shadow of annoyance never came near thee. Thou lovest, but never knew love's sad satiety. The skylark's clear sharp joy never feels tired or annoyed. It loves but never knows the sadness or boredom that love can sometimes bring. The skylark's joy is perfect and constant. It contrasts human experience where joy often mixes with pain. With thy clear keen joyance, languor cannot be. Joyance means happiness and languor means tiredness. Here two opposite ideas are placed together. So, It's an antithesis. Thou lovest. The bird is said to love like a human. It's a personification. Never knew love sad satiety implies but doesn't suffer the emotional fatigue that humans do from love. Waking or asleep, thou of death must deem things more true and deep than we mortals dream. Or how could thy notes flow in such a crystal stream? The poet thinks the skylark must understand deep truths about life and death beyond human knowledge because its song is so clear and pure. The Skylark song suggests wisdom beyond human reach. Its music flows naturally like a crystal stream. The Skylark song is implicitly compared to a crystal stream. It's a metaphor. We look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. Humans are always thinking about the past and future, longing for things they don't have. Even our happiest laughter contains some pain, and our best songs often come from sadness. Shelley points out human sadness mixed with joy. Two opposing ideas before or past and after or future show how humans are always thinking ahead and behind, never living in the present. It's an antithesis. A paradoxical statement is our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. It seems contradictory but reveals a deeper truth. Here Shelley says the most beautiful songs are born of sorrow, a contradiction that reflects how pain inspires deep, meaningful art. Our is repeated in two lines. It's an anaphora or epanaphora. Yet, if we could scorn, hate, and pride and fear, if we were things born not to shed a tear, I know not how thy joy we ever should come near. If humans could completely reject hate, pride, and fear and never cry, then maybe we could understand the skylark's joy. But the poet doubts even then. Shelley shows how human emotions are complicated. Pure joy like the skylarks seems almost impossible for humans. Better than all measures of delightful sound, better than all treasures that in books are found. Thy skill to poet were thou scorner of the ground. The poet says the skylark's skill in singing is better than any music or treasure found in books. The bird is a true poet looking down on the earth. Shelley praises the skylark as a perfect poet. Scorner of the ground shows the bird's lofty spiritual nature. Better than all measures. Measures refers to musical measures, that is, rhythms or melodies. So, this line metaphorically compares the skylark song to the most beautiful music ever composed and says the bird's song is better. Treasures in books refers to written knowledge, poetry, or wisdom. The skylark's natural song is metaphorically described as more precious than even the best human written literature. The praise is exaggerated to express deep admiration, saying the skylark's song surpasses all musical and literary achievements. The repetition of the phrase better than all at the beginning of the two lines provides a rhythm and emphasizes comparison. It's an instance of parallelism. Thy skill to poet where thou corner of the ground. The poet directly addresses the skylark as thou. It's a literary apostrophe, direct address to a non human thing. Next, final stanza. Teach me half the gladness that thy brain must know, such harmonious madness from my lips should flow. The world should listen then, as I am listening now. The poet asks the skylark to teach him even half of its happiness. Then he could sing so beautifully that the whole world would listen, just like he listens to the bird now. The poet expresses his desire to share the skylark's pure joy. Harmonious madness shows the intense creative energy of true poetry. Teach me half the gladness. Here Shelley addresses the skylark, a bird, as though it were capable of understanding and responding. Thy brain must know implies the skylark has a brain that knows gladness like a human. It's a personification. Harmonious madness, here two contradictory terms appear together. It's an oxymoron. The poet is saying that the feelings are wild and powerful like madness, but at the same time, they are beautiful and sweet like music or harmony. So, in this lyrical ode, Shelley addresses the skylark, a small bird soaring high in the sky and singing joyfully. The poet hails it as a blithe spirit, not just a bird, for its song seems divine, spontaneous, and free from earthly sorrow. Rising above the world, the skylark becomes a symbol of pure, unshadowed joy. Shelley compares the skylark to many beautiful things: a cloud of fire, a golden glow worm, a hidden rose, and even a high-born maiden singing in solitude, but insists that the bird's music surpasses them all. He marvels at its effortless melody and wonders what secret source of unbroken happiness lies behind such rapture. The poem contrasts the bird's eternal gladness with human suffering, where even the sweetest songs spring from pain. Unlike humans who dwell on past and future sorrows, the skylark seems to know only joy. Shelley finally pleads with the skylark to teach him just a fraction of its happiness, believing that such a gift would make his poetry so powerful that the whole world would listen.